And God said, Behold, I have given you every herb-bearing seed. To you it shall be for food. Genesis 1:29. Man did eat angels' food. He sent them meat to the full. Psalm 78:25. Everyday Manna with Lisa.
Hi everybody, and welcome to Everyday Manna. Today we are going to make pancakes. We're going to make 3 different kinds of pancakes. Now I am a person in my family is this way too. I could eat breakfast for dinner anytime, but I also of course like breakfast for breakfast, lunch, brunch, or dinner. So you could make this any time of the day. And it is all easy. We're going to make 3 different kinds. We're going to get started with our sour cream pancakes. Now I'm using a griddle, but you can use a skillet or whatever you normally cook your pancakes on. I just find these are easy to cook on for pancakes and things that you've got a lot going on. So that's preheated. I've got it up to about 300. You don't want it too hot because then it just burns the outside before the inside gets cooked. So I've got it on about 300. Now in this bowl, I have some all-purpose flour and some oats. And let me show you. Now I am using not the 1-minute instant oats. I'm using the old-fashioned oats they're rolled and flaked, the ones that take like 5 minutes. That's what you want for this recipe. And I'm just going to kind of whisk those 2 things together. I'm also going to add some baking powder, baking soda, some sugar, some salt, and some cinnamon. Now, you could use any spice that you like. If you've got apple pie spice, it's delicious in here. And by that, I mean a warm spice. Pumpkin pie spice is good, nutmeg, clove. I'm just choosing cinnamon today. I'm going to set that, just leave that there for a minute. Now, I have in this cup some buttermilk. And I'm going to add 1 egg. I'm going to add 1 cup of sour cream, the whole cup. Get that down in there. And you can use the low-fat sour cream if you want to. That's fine. And I'm going to whisk all that together just to kind of get that egg broken up mostly. Just kind of take your whisk, and I should have gotten a bigger measuring cup. That's okay. I just really want to break that egg up. That's really what I'm doing. And then pour the wet into the dry and stir that together. Now, I get asked, fairly often, how do you keep your pancakes from being tough? Well, there's a couple of ways. First being, don't overcook them, and we'll talk about that when we start cooking, but also don't overmix your pancakes. If you overmix them, what happens is the gluten starts developing and that makes them tough. So what you want to do is just mix it until you do not see any more dried flour. Yes, there will be lumps. Even if you're not using oats like I am, there's going to be lumps. Now I'm going to add a couple of tablespoons of melted butter and just gently fold that in. Now this needs to set for just a minute to let that baking soda and baking soda and baking powder start to mix. So leave that alone for just a second. Let me put this in the sink here. I'm a messy cook, you know that. Now you could use butter or you can use a little vegetable oil. Either one will work, for cooking your pancakes. What I suggest you doing is turning your oven, if you're cooking for a lot of people, put your oven on like 200 degrees and then have a pan ready to put them on and put them in the oven just to keep warm while you finish cooking your pancakes. That works great for waffles. That works great for anything where you've got a lot of different it takes a little bit of time to cook enough for everybody. It's a good idea just to preheat your oven to 200 degrees and that just keeps them warm. Now I personally like warm syrup, so I have a pan here on my stove with just some plain I'm using pancake syrup today, but you can buy, you could use maple syrup if you wanted to, real maple syrup. It's delicious. I just find it's a little costly, and I like the pancake syrup. So we're going to heat that over, just low heat till I get done. You also could use any kind of jam or jelly that you like. This is the whole fruit strawberry, and you can put that in a bowl and melt it in your microwave for just a few minutes and use that instead of syrup on your pancakes, and that works fine too. Now, if you will notice, if you were paying attention, you see how it's starting to rise a little bit? That's what we were waiting on. Now, you could use anything you wanted to stir this in. I just am going to use a little ladle. You could use a measuring, cup, like a fourth of a cup. I don't like my pancakes too big. Oh, let me grease my griddle here. I'm just using plain vegetable oil on this one. Take a paper towel and lightly grease up your griddle. You don't want it swimming in that. You just want a little bit. And even though this is non-stick, I'm still going to put a little bit of the oil on there. Now, I'm just going to, flatten those out just a little bit, not a lot. I'm using a little ladle here. This is why I like to use this, because I've got a lot of surface to work with. My kids love these pancakes. They are really good. And you could add some chopped up walnuts in here if you wanted to, or almonds. Really, you could do anything you want with these type recipes. You could add in flavors that you like. And this is just the one that we're going to make. Now, I get asked quite often, how do you know when to turn your pancakes to keep them from being too done or not done enough? If you will look at the surface of your pancake, they're not ready yet, but you see how the little bubbles are starting to come up? There's one right here that's getting ready to pop. If you will watch, and when the surface of your pancakes are full of bubbles and the edges start looking a little bit dry, that's when you know to flip your pancake. Not before. That's when you know. And if you're, if you're a new cook and you're not sure, take your spatula and just kind of peek under there. See, they're not ready yet, and I could tell by touching it. Watch again. You see how that's just really loose and not going to stick together? If I try to flip it, it's not ready. That's another way you'll know. You just got to watch them. Pancakes cook very quickly. Normally, maybe 2 minutes on the first side, depending on how big or how thick. But 2 minutes on the first side, and then flip them over, and they cook even quicker on the second side. They'll cook in, like a minute on that second side. So we've got some bubbles coming up. Turn that up to about 325. Let's see. There you go. You see how golden brown that is? That's the way I like mine. If you want yours a little darker, leave them just a second more. This one is giving me trouble today. He does not want to flip. There we go. See how golden brown they are? That's what you want. Let them go about a minute on the other side until the other side is nice and golden brown. And then take them off the griddle, put them on a baking sheet, and get that in the oven while you cook the rest. So I'm just going to let these go about a minute and start the next batch. I'm going to take a quick break, and when I come back, we're going to make some apple pancakes. I'll be back in just a minute.
Thank you.
All righty, now we've got batch 2 done, and look how they're just golden on both sides. And I'm just going to put them in the 200-degree preheated oven until we're ready to eat, because we're going to get started on another kind of pancake. So those will just be comfortable right in there. Now, let's make an apple pancake. This one, I'm just going to leave that on there. In this bowl, I have about, I don't know, a cup or so of flour. I'm going to add some sugar, some salt, some baking powder, and baking soda. I'm going to whisk all that together. Then I've got 2 eggs here. Let me kind of lightly beat those. 2 eggs. Just gonna add those into my buttermilk. I'm using buttermilk because I like the tang it gives pancakes. Add that to our dry mixture. Just lightly stir that. Again, don't overmix this. That's where you get tough pancakes. Just takes a minute or 2 to get it together. All right, let's let that go for just a second. Now, I have 1 apple here. I'm using a Gala apple. You could use whatever kind of apple you like. And I've got a box grater, and I'm going to actually grate this. Now, I've washed this one, and I do tend to like to buy organic apples if I can. So I'm not worried about leaving the skin on. I'm leaving the skin on. And the buttermilk will also help keep the apple from turning brown. So I'm just grating it. The reason I'm doing this is because pancakes cook so quick that, you know, you don't want, you know, uncooked chunk of apple in there. So I'm just grating it around the edges. Don't do this till you're ready to mix it. Just 1 apple, medium-sized apple. Watch your fingers. You could do this in a food processor if you wanted to. I'm just using the large holes of a box grater. I think that's probably good. Now, scoop out all that stuff. Watch your fingers. And then take this, and you might squeeze out some of the juice, not all of it, but a little bit of it. You don't want it too runny. And stir that in, and that's it. You got homemade apple pancakes. You could do pear, you could use any fruit you like. This would also be good with a little cinnamon in it if you wanted to. Put a little cinnamon. Just stir that in till it's incorporated. Don't overmix. I'm telling you, that's the #1 reason pancakes get tough, is you think you got to mix it till all those lumps are out, and you really don't. Now, I'm going to put a little bit of butter on there to cook these. And it's okay if you use the same skillet. Honestly, you know, it's okay. It's all pancake. And then I'm going to do the same thing that we did last time. I'm using the scoop because I like my pancakes to be a little bit on the smaller side. You can make them as big or small as you want. You could even, you know, put a cookie cutter down, a big cookie cutter, and put your pancake mix inside that cookie cutter and make shaped pancakes. Those would be fun. These need to cook, you know, just the same as before till that butter, you know, pops up and starts bubbling the surface. The edges start looking a little browned. That's when you know it's time to flip your pancakes. And you know what? I think, gonna sprinkle on just a last minute little change here. A little cinnamon. I think that would be yummy with those apples. You could use nutmeg, you could use pumpkin pie spice, you could use whatever you wanted. I love cinnamon. You don't even have to put the cinnamon in. But it's just sounding really good to me. So that's what we do. And that's what cooking's about. I had someone one time ask me, you know, you really just can't change ingredients in and out. Well, yeah, you kind of can, within reason. Now, obviously, with baking or anything like this, you're still going to need your flour and your baking soda and baking powder. But your complement type ingredients, like the apple, if you don't want apple in there, but you could use a pear, or you could use, what's really good in here are those little Asian pears that you can get in the fall, the round ones. Oh, they're so good. You could use a different kind of apple. You could chop up some strawberries in there, or you could even put blueberries in there. You could put chocolate chips in there. You could put anything that you like in there. So yes, my friends, you can custom do your pancakes the way that you want them to be. Let's see. Now this one will be a tiny bit more difficult to see the bubbles because you've got the apple chunks in there. So it's a little bit firmer, more dense of a pancake, but the same thing applies. You let the one side cook. It cooks a little longer than the other side. When you flip them, that side cooks a little quicker. I love these. They're so good. When you're making your homemade batter like this, you do need to remember to let it set for just a minute. That's why I mixed it up before I grated my apple, because you want the baking powder and the baking soda to react with your buttermilk and cause that rising of the pancake. If you do it too quickly and don't give it just a minute, I'm not talking 30 minutes, I'm talking 1 or 2 minutes, then your pancakes, they'll still taste good, but they won't rise and be as puffy as you might want them to be. So I'm just going to let this second side cook just like the other pancakes. Get these in the oven to stay warm while we start on what is perhaps my favorite one. I'll be back in just a minute. Okay, now we are going to make my favorite, which is, I love this combination. Now, my most favorite flavors for breakfast are pancakes with bacon and syrup. And so I don't even remember where I saw this. I don't know if it was on Instagram or Pinterest or wherever, but anyway, and I thought, that's brilliant. So I can't take credit for the idea, but I'm going to show you how to do it. It is so easy. Now for this one, I'm just using boxed pancake mix, which if I'm going to be perfectly honest with you is what I do 95% of the time. Unless I'm making a specialty pancake like the apple or the sour cream, I use the same stuff you do at home. My favorite, I will go ahead and tell you, my favorite pre-boxed up pancake mix is Hungry Jack, the complete buttermilk. That's the one I'm using today. I don't measure. I've just done it so much that I kind of know. So you just have to mix it with water until it's the consistency that you want. If you're, you know, kind of a newbie, then you, by all means, measure. And don't overmix. Same rules apply, whether you're using homemade or store-bought pancake mix. Same rules. Don't overmix it just until the pancake mix doesn't have any dry and it's a consistency that you want. I want this one to be not really runny, but not too thick. That's good, right there. You see how there's still lumps in there? That's okay. Leave them. It's all right. Now, For this recipe, you will need some pre-cooked bacon. Now, you can do this one of two ways. You could crumble this up and mix it into your batter, or you can make dippers, which is what I'm going to do, because this is my favorite. I love this idea. This is brilliant. If you're a pancake and bacon lover like me, you're going to like this one. We're going to take some butter. You could use oil. I just like the flavor of butter better. Either one will work. You want to take your bacon that's cooked. I'll show you one, then I'll decide. You want a spoon or a spatula of some sort or a measuring cup. And you want to take your pancake batter and you want to go all the way down that strip of bacon. Then you want to kind of take a knife or something and smooth it out a little bit. And that's a dipper. These are fun for your kids. If you've got kids that need inspiration to start eating something, kids tend to like things that they can dip. I'm not a kid. I'm certainly grown up, and I still love them. These are my favorites. I just think it's such a cool idea. You can use any kind of batter that you like. I'm just showing you the easy one, the one I use most of the time. Takes a little time, but hey, it's okay. And just kind of smooth that out. Let it cook on the one side. And then we're going to flip it. Takes it just a second to cook. Yummy, yummy. And again, you could use turkey bacon if you wanted to. You could do the same thing with sausage. You know, kind of form your sausage patties or use the links and do the same thing with those. It would work just as good. It depends on the flavors that you like. I've done this with turkey bacon, and it's good with turkey bacon. But my favorite, again, my favorite flavor combination is most definitely pancake bacon with syrup on there. Alrighty, now here's our finished pancakes. My favorite, which is the pancakes with bacon with some warm syrup to dip it in. That needs nothing else except a little bit of butter. So let's put just a little butter on there, on each one. And then just let that kind of melt over it and be fine. Spread that out as it melts. And then here are our other pancakes. Here's our wonderful little apple pancakes and our sour cream pancakes. And again, they need a little butter on them. Now, you could serve this with any kind of toppings that you like. Let's just dab a little butter on each one. I'm just making really thin slices. These are not thick slices of butter, just a little thin slice of butter. And then I think for the apple, I think, you know, it looks nice and it tastes good to just put a little tiny bit of powdered sugar over top. Just a little bit, not much. You could even do that over those if you wanted to. And there you go. And I would serve this with warm syrup. I've got some beautiful strawberry jelly that I melted in the oven, and I'm just going to put a little bit of that on top of those, and it just really makes it taste wonderful. And you could use any flavor of this that you want, and they make many different flavors of syrup. So check out whatever you like. These are just some of my favorites and my family's favorites. So there you go. Some easy, quick pancake recipes for you to make any time of the day or night for that matter. And I'll tell you what, these freeze beautifully. So if you want to make up the whole batch and maybe you don't eat them, but for a quick morning, just put a couple of them in a resealable bag, put them in the freezer, take them out, microwave them for just, like 90 seconds inside the bag, and it just re-steams them. Wonderful, wonderful way to have breakfast any day of the week that you need, or dinner that's fast and easy and quick. You could do all of these from start to finish in under 30 minutes. So you could have a buffet for your family or your friends or your guests or just for you. Thank you for joining with me. Try these recipes, let me know what you think, and I will see you next time on Everyday Manna.
Thank you for watching Everyday Manna with Lisa. This program is made possible by viewers like you. Your support is continually needed to keep Christian programming on the air. Please send your best financial gift to Living Faith Television in care of Everyday Manna, P.O. Box 1867, Abingdon, Virginia 24212.